Alexi and all the ATR team for getting us to this point. I'm very excited to be introducing this new airplane into the market. We'll be introducing it into the U.S., I guess you could say, and certainly introducing it for the first time to a Part 135 format. I love the energy of this team, and I love their vision. I want to take a couple steps back. I spent a lot of my early career in regional aviation. The first company I worked for, Burlington, Vermont, we had 5 names in 3 years. We started off as Brockway Air. Yeah, it's always been a frothy market. We were Brockway Air. We became Piedmont Commuter. Piedmont was purchased by U.S. Air, so we became U.S. Air Express. Then we became Metro Air Northeast, and then we, for a short period of time, were Transworld Express before we went away. In five different liveries. Our most frequent route from Burlington, Vermont to Mena, Arkansas, where the cheapest paint shop in the United States is. Flying the fleet back and forth. I probably got 200 hours of OT tonight. And South 340s and Beach 1900s. And just tag along for a ride on those flights. But at that same period, ATRs were flying. And Continental Airlines was flying ATRs. I think about 40 of them based in Newark. And I flew a lot between Burlington, where I lived, and Newark. Every time I had to go to another city. And it's remarkable to me that ATR was there before the RJ revolution even started. And ATR now, after the RJ revolution, is still the only OEM, thank God, making a 50-seat airplane. Comair came and went, Bombardier came and went, Embraer came and went. All of the guys that work for Brockway are still in the game. John Sullivan, Tony Fano, and some of the other guys who are now running Commuter. They were running Brockway at the time, so we've all outlasted the entire RJ cycle, which is pretty remarkable to me. But so is ATR, which is also very remarkable. We've come full circle. So I'll tell you a little bit about what JSX is, if you don't already know. Anybody know what JSX besides the ATR guys? Anyone know what JSX stands for? Yes, I heard it whispered. A joyful, simple experience. So that's not something you hear a lot in the aviation industry, but we are a point-to-point air carrier. We're a third way. Our only incentive is to get you from point A to point B as quickly as possible. Network airlines, a very, very efficient way to get people from many, many points to many other points, but it's not necessarily the most pleasant experience. And if you think of it from a customer perspective, it's all obvious to us because we have to fly these charter airlines all the time. Incentives are all wrong. Airlines are now building airports are building shopping malls now. So when you go to an airport, you go through a security checkpoint, and then you got to go through the shopping mall just to get on an airplane. And the incentives for the airports is to maximize concession revenue. So their incentive is actually to keep you at the airport for as long as possible to buy as much as you can. And the airlines love it too because that revenue offsets their cost at the airports. And so no one's really got a burning incentive to actually get the customer out of the car and onto the airplane as quickly as possible. In fact, all the economics are opposed to that, which is probably why we have the airports that we have and the experience that we have. And how do these airlines grow? There's only 500 Part 138 airports in the country, right? So there's only 10 per state on average. This is a massive country with 300 million people and growing. We're forcing them all to go through those 500 airports. And the only way they can grow now at those 500 airports is through gauge, right? So 150C 320 becomes a 220C 321, but the gates aren't getting any bigger. The restaurants aren't getting any bigger. The TSA capacity is not getting very much bigger. And so the relative experience of the airport, I think, is going to diminish over time as more and more people fly with basically the same infrastructure. And as the hubs continue to grow, I live in Dallas. I hate to say it, but I've been executive platinum for 7 years since I moved there. Because there's no other way to travel to most of the places I need to go nonstop. And when there's a thunderstorm in Dallas, it's felt worldwide, and the entire network is kind of falls apart. You're going to have 17 more gates to that mess with bigger gauge airplanes. So the misery index is going to climb, not diminish over time, which is not a good feature in a service industry. So in light of all that, I'm happy to say the JSX model is working really well. We kind of sidestep major airports everywhere we can. We do fly to about half our markets are not Part 138 airports. Because we fly to Part 135, we don't have that constraint, and that's probably our biggest USP. 8 years in, millions of people flown, thousands fly every day, over 1,000 crew members. It's going pretty well. Our Net Promoter Score is 85, higher than Apple Computer, according to American Airlines. Last week, we were named for the 8th consecutive year as the only 5-star regional carrier in the world. Cloud & Mass just named us #1 air carrier in the world for the second year in a row. Travel and Leisure is about to do it next week. Don't tell anybody. And also for the second year in a row. And most importantly, our customers rate us number one every single day. And by the way, if you're a customer, please join code JSX. You get 5% credit towards future flights with MyIB and our Creative Fire Builder. It's a very, very simple one to coordinate. But we also do it safely. We're not cutting corners. We fly to 121 safety standards on par with any other, let's say, world-class air carrier around the globe. We fly at TSA security standards. I think when it comes to safety, security, and service, small is beautiful. Despite what my friends in Dallas might tell you, the DOT, the FAA, the DHS, TSA, all call JSX model operator, and we are very, very confident and secure in our regulatory position. That brings us to the ATR. So from my perspective, the airplane is half and double. It needs half the runway of the plane we fly today. It needs roughly half the fuel on the short stages that we fly today, and it can fly twice as many airports as to double. Next week, our first intended operation, first intended destination is going to become public maybe late this week. We'll see. I wish I could tell you today, but I can't for certain reasons that will become obvious. And I'm happy to tell you that it will be another controversial one. We get sued almost everywhere we go. But we've come, our customers have come to our defense. And in Orange County, we've now got more than the time. We've actually got our own terminal there now, and we've doubled our capacity there. Westchester County, about 3 weeks ago, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals handed down a very, very strong opinion, or I should say decision in our favor. So the Westchester County cannot force us to use the terminal. That was a presidential decision. The only appeal is to the Supreme Court. There's no way they're going to review it. So our regulatory footing continues to firm up every day. But we don't do it, just through lawyers. We do it by letting our hearts amongst our customers and also the communities that we fly to. We fly a very, very quiet jet today, and we're going to fly an even quieter turboprop. I want to say October, but it's probably going to be November. Very, very soon. And I think it's going to be a most profitable airplane. We are going to fly this airplane in one places that the jet cannot go, at least initially. The 30C, 72, that might be good for us in certain short-haul markets where it could replace the jet over time. As you all know, as you heard, we only have any number of flights left in our jet fleet. And having airplanes still in production is a very good thing for our shareholders to appreciate it because it will continue to invest. The last word I'll leave you with is that we have some very smart experts today. I think you should listen to them, but don't listen to all the experts. When we started JetBlue, all the experts said, I want everybody to drive out to JFK for a domestic flight. David Newman, my good friend and investor, and I drove my 1986 and our turbo 16 times, which we were already in JFK before we started JetBlue, just to prove to ourselves that really it's only about 20 minutes further from the city. And sure enough, I think JetBlue has proven that people will certainly do that. When we started JSX, once again, the expert said, you guys are crazy. No one's going to get an air carrier that they've ever heard of, flying from an airport they didn't know existed. Well, they certainly are every single day. When we became a global launch customer for Starlink, first ever Starlink on a commercial airplane, that was JSX. Once again, all the experts said connection between the low Earth orbiting satellite and the handovers to flying an object in the air is impossible and it's never going to work. 2 years later, Qatar Airways invested for their entire fleet. It's on all the 777s already. Qatar Airways is also an investor. And United Airlines, another JSX investor, worked on their test bed, also announced the Starlink order. So now we come to the ATR, where I guess we are the official relaunch customer. Should we say that? All right. And I'm happy to say that those same experts are telling people that there's no way premium customers going to get on a turboprop. I guess they've never been in St. Bart's. They don't have no way in their estimation. But once again, JSX is getting big and big for our family. So don't listen to the experts, listen to your customers. And the choice is ultimately not turboprop versus jet. The choice is, do you want to fly from where you live to where you're going in 90 minutes, or do you want to do it in 3 hours? That's the choice. That's bullshit. Your average customer's not going to care about it. So I'm super excited to be here today. Super excited to launch this airplane, going out to the West Coast. I'll tell you it'll be in California, but I won't tell you where yet. It'll be in early November, right, Lloyd? All right, both airplanes ready? Okay, right, Tim? All right, good. All right, and many more to come. Thanks, everybody.